What's up, everybody? I'm Jason, this is Freebird Garage, and we are doing something I said I wasn't gonna do. We are fixing the major scratch on this tank, which involves a little paint, some wet sanding. We're gonna dive into this thing, see if we can get this just a little bit better than what it was. So let's get to the first step, hop on the bench, and see what we gotta do to get it done. All right, taking care of this big scratch here. I'll show you guys right up there. You can see it on the camera, picks it up. Pretty big scratch on there. And it's somewhat smoothed out, but definitely still noticeable if I put it on the bike, and it's right on the side. If it was on the front, you'd be probably pretty good. You wouldn't have to worry about it too much, but it's staring me right in the eyes every time I look at this tank and just need to do something about it in order to make it look more pretty for this bike. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this painted, yeah, and then we're gonna wet sand this. And what I did find out about this tank is that this tank is actually shot completely red, and then they will tape off the pinstriping and then shoot it black. So there is red underneath the black. Once again on this scratch, you can see whatever hit this or scratched it, just got it down to the base coat. So we're past the clear, we're past the black, now we're into the base of the paint job of the tank. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna use some touch-up paint right here, some automotive universal black. It is a universal black that is on here. There's no sparkle, no flake, nothing special. So that's what's good about that. I got a specialty little paintbrush right here, found at a hobby store that gets you down to real fine detail, much skinnier than what comes in those. Those are way too wide and thick to be able to get to the fine lines. And then I got my handy spectacle helmet here. We're gonna use this to get real fine and looked into on that scratch and get it taken care of, all right? Not much to this. We're gonna do the first step because I just gotta get the base layer of this paint laid out and then just let it dry, and then we'll return, do a little more, and then do some wet sanding on it. So let's get it done. Making sure we don't hit anything other than the one spot. I'm just gonna tape this off just to make sure we don't. And this paint is all black. We're using a universal black as well, so there's no sparkle, nothing special into it, so it should match up pretty close. Looking good so far. We're gonna let that dry for a moment and we'll hit it with another round. All right, so I cranked up the camera so you guys can see the line where I have painted so far, so it picks it up. It's blending right into the black. We're gonna hit it up here. It's a little bit white up on this, and then it should be good on that line. Don't wanna make it too thick, just enough to cover up everything, and then we'll get the clear coat over it. All right, everything's pretty much dried up, so we're gonna hit this with the clear coat now and get the final bit on here. All right, so that's it for right now. We got everything sealed up. We just gotta wait for this thing to finally dry, and then we'll hit this with the wet sand and get hopefully everything smoothed out from here. All right, so the paint's been sitting now for over a week. It's nice and cured. I had a clear coat on this, so it should be good to go for wet sanding. I have my sandpaper now sitting in a bucket of water, soaking those, getting ready to go. We got our spray bottle to make sure it's nice and wet there. And this is some uncharted territory for myself. I don't normally just do some wet sanding on paint. I really don't like touching this kind of stuff when it's on OEM, just for the obvious reason it's OEM and you really can't go backwards. But in this case, it's time to give it a shot, see how I do. And this is the first step. And the first step we're gonna use is a 2500 grit. I have a 1500, and then I go all the way up to a 5000 grit. But we're gonna start at the 2500, see if I can go less abrasive and get this nice and smoothed out. All right, so let's get this started. All right, so once again, starting off with the 2500, let's get this area nice and wet. And we got our soaked sandpaper here. All right, so examining it, we still have some high points, but it came out pretty smooth. If we were to buff it out, you definitely would tell way less than it was prior, but I think we can get a little bit more smoothed out on that high rise, that paint from the touch up there. So we're gonna hit it with actually a 1500 and then go back to the 2500, see if this gets it a little more flat. All right, well that seems to really take care of it. I mean, it's almost completely blended in down here. We just gotta hit the top and then we can start moving our way back up to the 1500. All right, so we're good there. Let's switch it back to the 2500. See what we come up with. All right, so now we're gonna go even finer to a 3000. And we're gonna hit it now with a 5000 grit. All right, looking pretty good. We have a little bit of the scratch still appearing right there, but overall it looks real nice. I think I'm gonna go ahead and try to buff out what we have here, see if we can get a final restoration on this. Starting off with my heavy cut here, start buffing away. Alright, so it's looking pretty good. It's almost disappeared now. We're gonna hit with our 205 mid compound. And with our last step there with the swirl glaze. Bam, there it is. Wet sanding worked. Came out beautifully, all smooth once again. That heavy scratch is gone. The little bit of red to the base is removed. Super stoked that it worked. It's a process that feels real sketchy because you're just going against that paint that you don't want to remove, and it came out beautifully. But for now, guys, that about wraps for me on this one. I would greatly appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button, tap that like, press that notification, leave a comment below and tell me what you think. For those who are subscribed, thank you, and as always, stay free. I'll catch you guys later. Peace!